True love and compassion, another way to say it in a way that doesn't involve those kind of really loaded words, is it means to become one, which means to just do it, which is the Nike shoe ad.
Hello everybody, it's Jason, and I'm here answering your questions about Zen, meditation, your practice, any kind of question. Today's question is about love. And it happens to be Valentine's Day today. So I thought it would be appropriate to read this question for you all. Jason, I hear you often talking about love and compassion in your videos. I think I understand what love is conventionally, but what is the meaning of love in Buddhism? This is a very interesting question, but I don't think I'm going to answer that today. I have somebody else in mind for this question, perhaps a Zen master who is a Buddhist monk. So the question I received was about love. And this person's heard about love in Buddhism and Zen and has some idea about love conventionally.
Right.
But the question he asked me was, what is the meaning of love in Buddhism?
As with anything in religious texts, many times you're reading a translation of something. So obviously Buddhist texts are not written originally in English, although they might be written in an Indo-European language like Sanskrit or something. And the same thing's true of Christianity. You'll be reading words from one language, like Greek or something. So always there's this translation problem when you want to get a hold of what they really mean, right? But in Zen, you don't really have that problem, because what it is actually referring to is a direct experience, not some kind of rational massaging of concepts or something. The point is in some kind of direct experience. So, the word love can be used in all kinds of contexts, like I love peanut butter, I love my dog, I love my wife, and I love God. So they're all the same word, but obviously they have different meanings. So the context and the connotation are everything when you're trying to understand what is being said. So one easy way to look at this is that Buddhist texts are fingers pointing at the moon. They aren't definitions the way we think of E equals MC squared or something. So they're hinting at or pointing to or suggesting or, there's a jillion words you can use for that. So usually in Buddhism, we use the word love connected always to the word compassion. So we say love and compassion. In fact, Buddhism is about love and compassion. But as anybody knows, whenever you try to define something, ultimately you can't define it. So every word actually is, what it's actually doing is pointing at something, in this case, pointing at an experience. And since there is no you in Buddhism, no ego you, when you go to point to it, what the hell is it? So for us in Buddhism, it's a form of do it. It's a kind of doing it, right? So in this case, it just means helping people. And that's about all you can say about it. And if you have a more technical explanation of what the term actually means, it doesn't actually help you that much. It also is a form of pointing, right? So it's pointing at something. That means it's a term that doesn't have opposites. So usually when we think about love, we compare it to hate or dislike or distaste or something like that, right? Like, I love peanut butter, but I don't like, I don't know what, cashews or almonds or something. So if we talk about that, what we're doing is pointing towards an experience that we have or a feeling that we have. In this case, the feeling cannot be described, and it points to something like the term Christian love. Christian love also has that problem, right? Because it's talking about something that you can't talk about. And in Zen, we're always talking about something we can't talk about. That's why I always say as a Zen teacher, I really don't have a job because there's nothing for me to do. Because everything that I do actually fails. So it's that way with love and compassion. So it's hinting at something or pointing to something or suggesting something or, and that's funny because it's the most important concept there is, and yet it itself doesn't have any like meaning in a scientific sense or something. So we're always talking about love. So that's why we have to be a little bit careful when you talk about love in the context of a spiritual text of some kind, right? So the Buddhist terms in Sanskrit or in Chinese for love get translated into English as love. But God, what in the heck does that mean, right? So one thing you can do is you can kind of discern the meaning in the context of the text, right? So we probably know that we're not talking about romantic love or my feeling for Anita Ekberg or something, so, but we're talking about something else, right? Or your feeling for your dog. Although you might want to have this feeling too for your dog. You want to feel actual love and compassion for it, aside from the fact that you don't like the color of his fur and you don't like how he bites the dog next door and all that kind of stuff. So it gets all mixed up because it's used both casually, informally, and formally, and conceptually, and beyond all of those things as its real meaning. So that's a little bit complicated, right? It's your intuition of what the concept means, which is actually more important than whatever academic understanding you have of that thing. So in this case, the term is love and compassion. So that is an immediate experience, moment to moment to moment to moment, and it's always different. So these words are, I like to think of them as fingers pointing at the moon, but the important thing is the moon. But the fingers are very useful, particularly if you don't know where in the heck is it, at this time of the month. Is it full? Is it last quarter, first quarter? What is it? So it's not that the word is completely meaningless and useless. It's just that you have to have it in a context. You have to understand the context in which it's used. So if I love my dog or I love God or my job here on the planet Earth is love and compassion for all beings, right? Those contexts are different. And so, of course, the so-called, what we casually call the meaning is also different, giving all those different contexts. Love in this moment means to become one, right? So you're petting a dog or you're saying a prayer at somebody's funeral or whatever. So those circumstances are quite different. So very important is becoming one with it, becoming one with the situation that you're in at this moment. So in our school, we call it the moment world. So you've probably noticed, if you think for about 5 seconds, even somebody as dumb as me, that there's only this moment. So actually there is no past. The past is gone, it's dead. We say the past is dead and the future is just a dream, which means it isn't here either. So true love and compassion, another way to say it in a way that doesn't involve those kind of really loaded words is, it means to become one, which means to just do it, which is the Nike shoe ad, right? So just do it is love and compassion because you have become one with it. So you'd want to be aware of what you're doing in this moment. And that is true, that's like true love and compassion, right? Mm-hmm.